chilly evening on the Bay at Cardinale Stadium as Monterey Bay FC continues its introduction to the Western Conference, hosting New Mexico United for the first ever meeting between these clubs. Alongside Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malfa. Glad to have you with us tonight from Seaside, California, here on ESPN+. It's been a tale of 2 months for Monterey Bay. They were so strong in May, they struggled in June, and it's why they are near the bottom of the table right now, while New Mexico United sits above the playoff line. And look at all those games in hand that they have right now in the Western Conference, looking to climb the table tonight. They can get out in front of Sacramento with a victory. And as I mentioned on the other side, Monterey Bay 4-11, sitting in 13th place, and a big reason for that, their hot and cold nature. Throw out their slow start to the season. It was understandable with that long stretch on the road. May, they looked like they were coming out of it. You see the record, you see the goals for and allowed. June, totally different story.
And you talk to Frank Yallop, he's not going to be happy with the results, but the style of play, saying that we've been in every single game, something to look upon and something to build upon. What an opportunity this is here tonight against New Mexico team. You're at home, so expect them to come out motivated.
And here is that lineup for Frank Yallop. He said that part of the reason June saw its struggles, they were missing so many key pieces, but a lot of them are back in the lineup now.
And you look at Arun Basulovic and Chase Boone into the lineup again. Basulovic and Murphy need to have a really good understanding to dictate tempo. Reblar playing as a true number 10 underneath Valesky. Boone coming back, going to be a big difference maker. We see him 4 goals, 1 assist on this year. So clever in his movement, can beat you through combination play, can run in behind, and he's a clinical finisher. If they're going to have a chance to walk out of here with 3 points, Chase Boone is going to have a big impact, needs to have a big game tonight.
They've maybe lacked a little bit of confidence in the attack. Different story for New Mexico United. They just lost to Birmingham in the last match 2-0. That was their first loss since April 23rd. A 7-match unbeaten run, 5 of those wins. They're above the playoff line, and they've only played 14 games.
And when you get this team going, they have just so much talent, especially in the attacking half. Can hurt you, can pull you apart. Zach Prince and this New Mexico team is not an easy out. You take a look at this really talented lineup. Portillo, Azero, Bruce. Rivas is going to drop in underneath Preston and Brett as a true number 10, and you have so much experience in that back line. Really strong 11 for Zach Prince.
Nico Brett, the 6th all-time leading scorer in USL Championship history. And a big reason right now for the success all around for New Mexico is the way that Portillo drives things through the midfield.
And he is the general, sits right in front of that back line. His passing range in this league is top class. He's an organizer, so look for him to have a big impact here tonight. If they're going to have a chance to walk out of here with points, Justin Portillo is going to have a say in that.
These two teams have never met. It's the inaugural season for Monterey Bay FC, and they continue their introductions to all the Western Conference opponents. New Mexico hoping to get back on track after a loss in the last match against Birmingham. Monterey Bay FC hoping to end the losing skid at 4 as they host New Mexico United here at Cardinale Stadium. Action coming your way after this short break on ESPN+.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Montrio, Tarpe's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Ready to kick things off at Cardinale Stadium. Dejan Susak, the referee tonight. New Mexico from left to right in the yellow, and Monterey Bay from right to left in the blue. And away we go from Seaside. Monterey Bay trying to snap a 4-game losing skid. New Mexico just lost for the first time in 2 months after 7 unbeaten, hoping to get right back on track. Robbie Crawford drops out of that back line for this game for Monterey Bay. Up to Boone and swept away by Will Seymour.
And if you're Frank Gallup from Monterey Bay, you're looking at the relationship between Murphy and Basulovic, that double pivot in the middle, spraying the ball from left to right, dictating tempo, getting the confidence within the team. Basulovic, a player that is so skillful, the space that he picks up between him and Revelar, and a lot of support for Valesky going forward.
Zach Prince for New Mexico said they weren't necessarily upset about the loss to snap that unbeaten run. It happens, it's human. They were more disappointed in the performance rather than the result. He said he challenges the guys to be at their best in terms of performance each match and control what they could control. You just have to make sure the lack of sharpness from the last game against Birmingham doesn't become a regularity. That wasn't us last week. We want to right the wrong now against Monterey Bay. Seymour. And by Crawford. Back and forth they go over the top, hoping to find somebody on the end of it. Now Wilmer Martinez finds some space for Maury Donor. Donor to the back post, Boone! How about that start when you're trying to stop a 4-game losing streak?
And it starts on this right-hand side, the relationship between Martinez and Donor. As Martinez pinches in, Donor understands there's a lot of real estate around the corners. Good combination playing that right-hand side. And then you have a player like Chase Boone that we highlighted in the open. How good he is, how clinical, how clever he is in his movement. Talk about a picture-perfect pass from Donor. He rises up. There's nothing that Tambakis can do. Great start for Monterey Bay.
Frank Gallup felt they'd been struggling to score goals, not creating enough opportunities, not finishing the ones they had. Well, it took them all but 2 minutes to create one and finish one. And Monterey Bay's up 1-0 right away.
It's going to be really interesting to see New Mexico now, how they respond. Obviously away from home, going down within 3 minutes, not the ideal start. Player that we highlighted in the open, Justin Portillo, is the leader, the general, makes everything tick for New Mexico going forward. So he needs to get on the ball. Maybe a bit shell-shocked already. Not the brightest start for Zach Prince and the boys in yellow.
It's really been an interesting quirk so far this season for New Mexico, where they've struggled at home and they've actually been excellent on the road. 2-1-3 at home, 5-2-1 on the road. They'll have to battle back now. Tete gives it away. Valesky looking back for Martinez. Well, Zach Prince, head coach of New Mexico, mentioned that the resilience and adaptability are the 2 strong suits of this club. You're going to have to tap into both of those after conceding just 2 minutes in on the road.
And the way that they're going to do that is just playing between the lines. Obviously, they have a diamond midfield, a lot of numbers between the lines, especially down that spine. Player like Rivas, who lives and dies in that pocket. Going to try to play underneath, behind Murphy and Basulovic. Got the support to Preston and Nico Brett that those striking pairs needs. Ask a lot of questions of the back line of Monterey Bay.
You see, conceding first hasn't really been all doom and gloom for New Mexico. A pair of wins, a pair of ties, and 3 losses when conceding first. against New Mexico as Roberts was taken down. Daniel Brewson in the starting 11 today for New Mexico. He's been a regular in the lineup. 15th appearance tonight, but only his 7th start. He's not the only player who's been in and out of the lineup this season, but getting the start tonight. Michael Azira only earning his 2nd start of the season. And then Josh Suggs, who's missed some time this season due to injury, 2nd all-time in league history in minutes played, gets back into the starting 11 for just his 2nd start of the season. Frank Yallop happy with the way this team has been performing despite the losses. 3 wins and a loss in May, 0-4 in June. And he feels they're competing, they're right there against some of the better teams in the conference. Play here, play there, and the fact that they've been missing so many guys, ultimately the difference in turning those 1-goal wins that they had in May into 1-goal losses, which littered the month of June.
It just comes to individual mistakes. The lack of focus in certain moments have been hurting this Monterey Bay side. There's going to be a mental battle now, going up a goal. Sometimes teams get complacent, really take their foot off the pedal, but no, you're at home. Take the game to this New Mexico side. Go look for another one within the first 15 minutes.
Chase, excellent chase. Now press.
Taken in by Rivas, and he lost it. Sergio Rivas, only 1 goal and 1 assist this season. Hasn't really found that scoring touch that he had last year when he scored 5, tied for 2nd on the team. Here's Preston. Along for Suggs, claim of a handball from some of the New Mexico players as Donor came sliding through. And Suggs returns and puts back on the captain's armband. Great to have him back in the lineup for New Mexico.
And you're going to see a lot of this from New Mexico, as they have a diamond in the midfield with Azira and Bruce pinching in. It's going to give a lot of real estate for Suggs and Tete to join in the attack. Really interesting high-level IQ football from Zach Prince's boys. And have a good relationship and the balance, especially in the back. As Suggs advances into the final third, Tete needs to tuck in, give that coverage in case there is a turnover.
Set blue, get ready.
All the way back for Maury Donor. Frank Yallop found Donor from the Canadian leagues. Came right in, fit the system they were trying to play. And Coach Yallop was very happy with the way Donor has stepped up as a leader on this team. It's a team full of league veterans, just about every line of the field. So when you have a team of veterans like that, you have a team of leaders, who's going to step up above the rest as kind of the leader among leaders? Hugh Roberts, undoubtedly the captain of this team. But Frank Yallop very happy with the way the likes of Christian Valesky and Maury Donor have stepped up as secondary leaders beyond their captain and their heart and soul in Hugh Roberts. Here's Kalen Ryden. Seymour going directly to Brett, looking for the ball. Donor draws the foul once again. Zach Prince coming into this game mentioned that they're really intrigued by what they've seen on tape from Monterey Bay. They do a really good job defending in lower spots with numbers behind the ball. Very difficult to break down, but they have had some issues this year where you can find a way through. They struggle offensively, get a little bit frustrated. But down a goal this early, and Frank Yallop and crew are able to hunker back even a bit deeper. It makes life that much more difficult for New Mexico.
And we've seen a rhythm of play this first 10 minutes for New Mexico, really pumping the ball into that front line of Preston and Nico Brett. As Preston has a physical presence, Nico Brett is going to be roaming around, running in behind, coming underneath. Second ball is going to be extremely important in Monterey Bay's back defensive unit. You're looking for Murphy, Vasiljevic to backtrack as well. Have a lot of relationship, organization skills, and communication between Roberts, Green, Murphy, Vasiljevic. Not to get Rivas pick up those balls in those soft spots.
Through a couple of months now, Frank Yallop has likened this Monterey Bay crew to a couple of the teams that he has dealt with in the past. Something maybe I'll know again here. Robbie Crawford tees it up, chips it back post. Too far for Boone. But this is not the first team that Frank Yallop has had this special feeling about. Not necessarily for this year, but going forward and what they're able to build.
In the second game running, Robbie Crawford, who is usually a center midfielder, shifts onto this left back position. Really good understanding of when to push up, when to drop back, has the quality and the vision to pick up this ball, just a bit too much pace on it. You can just see how explosive and how fluidity the front line for Monterey Bay is, as Chase Boone starts on the left-hand side, ends up on the right-hand side. Valesky peels out to the left. A lot of movement in the front line for Frank Yallop. He has to be extremely pleased with the start.
Yallop's been around MLS, USL. He said this team is very similar to the year he had in Vegas when he was the caretaker. A couple of months there, felt that the players were on the cusp of a major breakthrough, but did not continue his time there. And then all the way back to his Arizona United days before they became Phoenix Rising. They were bottom of the league, a lot of work to be done. The second year there, they started to take off a little bit. He left mid-spring, but a lot of the players he brought in ended up forming the core of the first couple of successful Phoenix Rising clubs. And he feels the same groundwork is being laid here now in Monterey Bay. Whipped all the way across by Bruce. New Mexico was unhappy with the way they were attacking in the first half against Oakland 2 games ago. It would turn out to be a 2-1 win. And the way they attacked against Birmingham last week, not finding enough play through the lines, not getting Preston and Brett in behind the back line as often as they'd like. It was different in the second half against Oakland. They found a way through with a couple of goals. But for the first 45, 50 minutes of that game, lifeless offensively. They struggled against Birmingham. And they wanted to have sort of a coming out party tonight, get back on track. 5 straight wins, a streak that came to an end last game against Birmingham. Here's Azira. Preston, cutting with it. Almost slipped it through to Brett. Azira keeps alive. Now Bruce. Kept alive by Suggs. Some contact there, not enough for a foul. And he and Moridona shake hands as they jog back up the field.
And as New Mexico is pressuring high, Monterey Bay is having a hard time playing out of the back, making life extremely hard. You're looking for a player like Valesky to stay high, really occupy the center back, which are Ryden and Seymour for New Mexico, to give a bit of space for Revelar, Murphy, Vasiljevic, Martinez, and Boone to find those soft spots between lines with the way you're going to break this initial press from New Mexico.
Let's get lively! Hey, come on!
Seymour. Glance over the shoulder from Azira. Forcing it toward Preston. Nearly a quarter of an hour in. Aside from the goal that they conceded, of course, the glaring 1-0 upper left of your screen, New Mexico just hasn't seemed to be in sync beyond that either.
Well, you would like to think, as you have a true number 10, which is Rivas, needs to get on the ball a bit more, have that combination play between Preston, Nico, Brett, players that have so much talent. Nico Brett, obviously, we know what he's about. The track record of scoring in this USL Championship. You need to get him the ball in dangerous positions, dangerous situations. Been far too easy for Monterey Bay backline to keep those guys quiet 15 minutes into this match.
Bruce chugging along the right side, wants the ball, gets it sent through. Bruce looking backside, And swept away by Kai Green, out for a corner. But that's better for New Mexico.
And when they get on in transition, New Mexico is a scary team. Good interchange between Nico Brett. Starts his right-hand side, peels off. That gives space for Bruce. Good idea, trying to cross it across. We give credit to Kai Green. Reads it the whole way, puts it out for a corner kick.
Portillo will send it in. To the top of the area, set play. Touch from Seymour off the face of Walmer Martinez. Look out. It's out for a corner kick. Martinez ate that like a prize boxer.
Straight off the training ground for Zach Prince. Good second touch here from Seymour, and you can just see, just laces through it. Give credit to Martinez. I will not get in front of that ball.
My goodness.
That's what Justin Portillo brings you. Just quality through and through, especially on dead ball opportunities.
Portillo delivers this one more traditionally. And Carlos Herrera grabs it. For Carlos Herrera in goal, his 6th start of the season, and it's been an improbable run for him. Preseason trialist, signed the 25-day contract back in April. That was extended on May 6th to a full season contract. Then on May 7th, he made his first start. Here we are 6 starts later. One by Martinez, too far out in front. Celebrating its 75th anniversary, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. Choose what you play with at www.selectsportamerica.com. Select, League's choice, player's choice. Ricky, and chatting with him ahead of the match this week, Frank Yallop seemed to be a coach very excited about what the future holds for this Monterey Bay team. Not throwing in the towel by any means on this season itself. They have a long way to go to get to the playoff line. We've seen it done before. He realizes it'll be difficult this year, but he also realizes Rome wasn't built in a day, and this team has an eye toward the future.
Well, you brought up a very interesting point when you asked him about the Oakland roots last year. Slow start, ended up squeaking into the playoffs. Something to grow upon, something to have that confidence that it can be done. When you look at this team, how they play, haven't really been blown out by any means, especially from a couple games here and there due to injury, players due to safety and protocol issues, whatever it may be. But to every single coach around this league, this Monterey Bay team is not easy out. The way that they play, they have a true identity system implemented in through Frank Yallop. And what better coach to be leading the line or this new organization in this USL Championship.
That 0-4 month of June, a 2-0 loss to Oakland, which for all intents and purposes was a 1-0 game. Oakland already up 1-0, scored the second one late in stoppage time just for some insurance. And a 3-2 loss against San Antonio that they lost late. 3-2 loss against LA Galaxy 2, a team in playoff position now. And a 2-1 loss against Sacramento in the last match. That last match against Sacramento kind of highlighted what the issue is for this team. That doesn't necessarily yet have the depth that Frank Yallop is looking for to be able to go ahead and make those impactful changes late in a match. You see Sacramento down 1-0. They bring in 3 substitutes. Malik Foster, one of them. He scores 2 goals in 70 seconds and turns the whole game on its head. They don't necessarily have that Monterey Bay.
And that's just going to come with time. You see when players are becoming more available through transfers, et cetera, new signings.
Portillo looking through for Bruce. Boone, your goal scorer from the 2nd minute, dispossessed by Rivas. was very intrigued by the shape that New Mexico has been using. He said he's really never seen a team go with a 3 at the back, diamond midfield type of look. It's just a very interesting combo that presents a lot of issues for a team. But the one thing he said, felt they could exploit them from out wide. You see the opening goal across from out wide to Boone at the back post.
I touched on it earlier in this first half, just a relationship, the understanding, the balance, which are the outside backs for New Mexico, whether it's Tete, Suggs. They both can't be pushed up high. They'll get caught in transition moments with the likes of Donor and Crawford. Boone, Martinez playing on the width from Monterey Bay. Whoa!
Preston being helped to his feet by a couple of fans. Just took a spill over the end board. You see him, and then a second you won't. Look out.
Talk about athleticism, though. To jump over that thing as quick as he does, hopefully he's okay.
The gentleman in the tan coat seemed to save the prized possession of the beverage he was holding. From the corner. Given away. Kalen Ryan tried to force it back into Azira. And now Monterey Bay looking to break out. Martinez. Donor still down along with Martinez. Helping each other.
And yes, this Monterey Bay team likes to be in possession through combination play, but when they have a lot of real estate in front of them, they're not as afraid to run in behind the likes of Martinez and Donor. There's a foul from New Mexico, really killing this transition moment. Could have been extremely dangerous for Monterey Bay going the other way.
Long for Robbie Crawford. Vasilovic. Here's Donor, had the assist on the Boone goal back in the 2nd minute. Well worked attack from out wide. Monterey Bay wanted the advantage played. And it's brought back for the foul against Tabonataka.
At first glance, I don't think there's any ill will here. There's a big awkward coming together as Tabonataka just he takes out Revelar. Bit of frustration from the New Mexico front line. When we had the success that's probably expected 25 minutes into this match.
Crawford. Very physical game early on. Both teams putting in that extra shoulder. No history between these two teams except for the first 24 minutes, first ever meeting. I get that it's life in this part of California. But it's still weird to see people with jackets in the stands in July on the 2nd. 60 degrees and breezy. Briefly caught wrong-footed. Tete recovers. Here's Azira. Now Sergio Rivas.
And it's a tactical change for Zach Prince as they start off. It's a 4-4-2, diamond middle. You can see Rivas really peel out to this right-hand side. Bruce take that central position. There's so much movement. Like Frank Yao mentioned in our call this week, it's really hard to track players, just the fluidity, the understanding of the tactical changes for Zach Prince in New Mexico. So if you're Murphy, Vasiljevic, tracking runners is going to be extremely important in front of your back line. You don't want to have those gaps where Bruce can pop in. Nico Brett we haven't seen much of, but once he gets his opportunity, once he gets going, he is a very dangerous man.
Zach Prince not too far removed from his playing days with Charleston Battery. Very quick transition into the head coaching ranks after time as an assistant with New Mexico. Suggs spins out of it. Here's Preston. Still Preston. The goals haven't really come from the strikers outside of Nico Brett for New Mexico. You've gotten a few out of a left back in Harry Swartz, a few out of some of your midfielders, whether it's been Rivas or some others, as this one's tracked down by Herrera. It's not a concern, though, at the moment for Zach Prince. He doesn't really care where they come from. He knows he has plenty of guys who have goal-scoring capabilities, and Amado Moreno may be on the way back soon enough for New Mexico to provide a bit of a jolt as well. But outside of Nico Brett, in terms of their strikers, all the goal scoring has been coming from elsewhere.
Well, there's a reason why we highlighted Justin Portillo in the open. We're going to see him, the spaces that he picks up between lines, just flirting around that 18-yard box, probably 10 yards outside. Has the ability to put this ball on a dime, put his laces through it. We've seen him score terrific goals throughout this USL Championship season in 2022. So you're looking for Preston or Nico Brett as they shift over to the left-hand side to pop in, look in the middle, to give their danger man the ball. It's a silly foul there for Murphy, just coming through the back of Bruce. One thing about this New Mexico side is they create space for each other extremely well. Whether it's Rivas or Bruce, you've seen, I pointed out in this first half, the interchange between lines. Portillo stepping up as well. The zero is the one that really shifts underneath and plays that security blanket in front of the back line.
Been largely controlled by New Mexico. The territory, the possession, the tempo, ever since going down a goal. But going back to the issues that Zach Prince highlighted with playing against a Monterey Bay team, you wonder how they find a way through this back line. They've got the numbers back behind the ball, a very low block. It's not very easy to get through. It's tough to play against them from behind. Although they have, in the recent run, coughed up a couple of leads. Once you get into the second half, and they don't really have the same bench options to get into some of their opponents. The same goes tonight for New Mexico, being able to bring somebody like Nava or Kiesewetter off the bench.
And as you're playing against a back line that drops deep in that defensive bunker, the way you're going to break that is have really crisp, quick, clean passing. A lot of combination play, especially on that 18-yard box.
Deflected on the shot from Portillo. Another set piece on the way now for New Mexico.
I touched on it about 2 minutes ago. Justin Portillo, when he sees a bit of space, doesn't need a second invitation. Good, clean first touch. But this laces through. Give credit to Hugh Roberts. A lot of traffic there in front of Herrera, not letting this ball go through.
Portillo, good ball. Seemed like Ryden and Preston kind of fought over it, and neither were able to make good contact. Very easy for Carlos Herrera. Along for Boone. Overlap coming from Crawford. Now it's sent his way. Vasiljevic comes over after a couple of years with OKC Energy. Prior to that, spent time in Reno where Frank Yallop was the GM. And you go even further than that, he was a standout at Georgetown, Ricky's favorite institution in the United States.
Come on, Joe. Go Blue Jays.
There will never not be a game that you and I work if Georgetown comes up that I won't bring it up. It'll happen every single time, only because I know as a Creighton Blue Jay, you love to hear the words George and Town brought up together.
Gives me the ick. Are there any Maryland players?
In this one, I would have mentioned it already. You would
fair
have known
fair
already.
enough. I'm just testing you.
The day that I get into a game where I haven't mentioned a Maryland player a half an hour in, if there is one, is the day that I take off this headset. Martinez finding a way through.
You start to see Monterey Bay starting to figure out where we can break down this defensive unit of New Mexico. Is changing the point of attack. They have the players that have the quality, the vision, the technical ability to pick up their head, put a ball on a dime over 50, 60 yards. So you're looking at players like Chase Boone, Juan Martinez to stay wide, really stretch back, stretch out. This New Mexico defensive unit is where they're going to have a lot of success as they've had recently in the last couple, 2-3 minutes.
Some action going on elsewhere in USL Championship. San Antonio up 2-0 on Charleston with 15 minutes to go. And Las Vegas just kicked off against Detroit with Phoenix and Orange County kicking off shortly as well. Preston rifles one in. And it is a handball against Nico Brett.
He's been a bright spot. Preston for this New Mexico United side. It's a dangerous ball and just comes a bit too quick for Nico Brett, unable to get his footing, his body in the right position. You see how explosive they are. Being extremely quiet. 34 minutes in, but can change this game in a matter of seconds.
Flag stays down. It's Walter Martinez. Pokes it along. Valesky barreling through. No whistle. He finds it from the ground. But it's blocked by Tambakis, who's now pleading his case that he was fouled by Valesky.
Good understanding here from Walter Martinez. Understand, as Chase Boone rises up, I need a right second for those second balls. Arun Vasiljevic unable to get the technique right. I think there is an argument to be had. Tambakis does have his hand on it. Valesky just has that extra swipe, trying to knock this ball free. They do have an argument in New Mexico, especially the goalkeeper, Tambakis, the dangerous play. If you're Arun Vasiljevic, you're gonna want this one back. You have that in your locker, just put that on target. He likes to go for power. Put his laces through it, instead of he opens up his hips. Hits it in with the inside of his foot. He's gonna have a lot more accuracy. It's the understanding that I was talking about in that front line. As one player runs up, one is stretching the back line for New Mexico. Good chance for Monterey Bay.
Rivas pivots into space. Here's Brett. You don't necessarily want Nico Brett out that wide. You want him in the middle to be able to finish it off, though. Here's Azira. Slotted through for Seymour. They're not finding that last ball right now, New Mexico. They're okay until they get into the final third. Once they get into that final third, everything kind of goes sideways.
It's just not clicking right now for Zach Prince's boys. It is the hardest place to play in that final third, to show that quality, the composure, the understanding, to play off of each other. And that's been lacking in this first half. You can just see the confusion between Portillo, Bruce, and Nico Brett making that same run. No one making that far post run.
Robert seemed like he was caught in between there for a moment. Whether to use the head or play it back with his feet. Made the right choice. Now starts it the other way. That was the wrong choice. A lot of space again for Maury Donor. It's that space down that side that created the opening goal. And still a lone goal back in the second minute for Chase Boone. Alongside MLS veteran Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malva. Happy to be with you tonight from Seaside, California on ESPN+. Monterey Bay and New Mexico meeting for the first time ever in USL Championship. Another ball over the top from out wide by Crawford. Almost caught that New Mexico back line off guard as Walmer Martinez snuck through. And a set piece on the way. Another thing that Frank Gallup mentioned as far as not being able to turn some of these close games into wins, not being able to find a second goal once they found a first to go up in matches. They haven't had much going into the attacking third ever since they scored. But can they steal one from a set piece? It's knotted down and over the bar. Valesky was that close to another one.
And what an opportunity this is to get that second goal that Frank Gallup says they've been missing. It's a free header. 7 yards out, you expect your striker to do a bit better than that, at least put it on target. Ask questions of Tambakis. Doesn't see it maybe until too late. Heads it down over the crossbar, but good opportunity for Valesky. Had a good, interesting conversation asking about Valesky. Only 1 goal in the year, 2 assists, but he does a lot of the dirty work that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. They're playing for each other, playing for the players underneath in the support system. Frank Gallup understands that he should have maybe 3-4 goals already in this year. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to happen, when it's going to fall. As a striker, you see 1 goal hit the back of the net. The floodgates are going to open. It's all about confidence in that position.
Free kick now for New Mexico, and one of the compliments that Frank Gallup paid to Christian Valesky is that he hasn't allowed that to seep into his mentality on the training ground. He said maybe he's frustrated when he's home at his place, but he doesn't bring that to him, rather with him, to the training ground or to the playing field on a match day. Shows the selfless attitude, the upbeat attitude and mentality when he's around his teammates, even though it hasn't been falling for him. 6 goals in his USL Championship career. Frank Gallup was very quick to point that out, and on any given night, Valesky could erupt for 2 or 3, and then from there, he's off to the races. Here's Preston, swerves it right into the chest of Herrera.
I think in this first half, the movement of Bruce has been extremely important for New Mexico when they get into that final third. As Rivas peels out to the right-hand side, Bruce goes into centrally underneath Nico Brett and Preston. The time he peels out, Preston understands that, cuts in. Just a bend that to the far post, hits it straight at Herrera.
How about Dejan Susak, the referee tonight? He's just about the only one who doesn't seem to be affected by the cold. So many players with the long sleeves on. He's just trucking along. Tell you what, I'm most surprised by Frank Yallop, the Canadian blood, and he's got the full winter parka on the bench in 60-degree weather.
California's getting to him.
Space now for Bruce. Brett making the run. Overlap coming. Still Bruce. Laid off for Rivas. Terrific build-up for New Mexico. A quiet first half, but they find one anyway.
And they can explode at any given moment. Look at this run from Preston. Jogs Arun Basulovic away, creates a space for Bruce to pick up his head. It's a kiss of a touch for Nico Brett. And then talk about a clean finish. Technique it takes to pull this up from Rivas. Body over it, laces through it, through the middle of the ball. Finds that near post of Herrera, nothing he can do. Brilliant goal there from that man to tie this game up right before halftime.
We mentioned it a bit earlier in the evening. He hasn't gotten going yet this year. Was tied for second on the team with goals last year at 5. That's just his second of this season. It comes at a big moment. And throw out whatever you were planning on saying in the locker room, Zach Prince. Completely different outlook now. Sergio Rivas, Albuquerque native. Local Cibola High School, played for USL 2, Albuquerque Sol. Drafted in 2019 by San Jose. Spent some time in Reno, where Frank Yallop, his opposing head coach tonight, was the GM before making his way to New Mexico.
Talk about playing for each other in that goal. Rivas comes underneath Nico Brett, sets him up, know exactly what they're doing, where each other is. The run for Bruce, the run for Preston, open up in space for each other. Really good tactical goal for Zach Prince right before halftime.
So often it feels like New Mexico's goals are just clinical, textbook, build up, every aspect about it. A couple of weeks ago, Devin Kerr and myself were on the call when they played Oakland, and the 2 goals they scored in that game, they were just like that. It was a handful of passes. Look out, giveaway by Herrera. Rivas on the prowl, puts it goalward, while his teammates are irate in the middle. Preston and Nico Brett visibly upset.
Yeah, he makes a wrong decision there. Rivas, as he gets in that final third, lacking a bit of composure that he showed on that first goal. Pick his head up, take a second touch, compose yourself, just push this ball across. The players like Preston and Nico Brett just licking their lips, waiting for an opportunity right inside that 6-yard box. Opportunity missed for New Mexico to get that second.
Now it almost seems like it's Monterey Bay just hoping for that halftime whistle to have it at 1-1. That game against Oakland, both times the build-up was 4 or 5 passes, incisive action, give and goes, final good cross to Weehan on the 1 goal. The other one found Nico Brett in the middle. So often when they score, it just seems like it's a picture-perfect goal. And that's why Zach Prince not necessarily concerned about finding somebody else to be that secondary striker with Nico Brett. The leading goal scorers on this team are Brett as a striker and then some midfielders, a defender in Schwartz. They don't necessarily need it to be a secondary striker, out-and-out striker like Preston, when you can have build-up play like that and have an open Rivas to bury one.
Well, we see time and time again when players get in that position, just want to put their laces through it, have so much power, it makes them lean back, rise over the ball and send it into the 10th row behind the goal. We saw in the first half, early in the first half, Arun Basulovic had an opportunity like it, likes to go for power and goes over the bar. Really clinical hit there from Rivas. Keep his body over it, textbook. A well-taken goal to get a second on the year.
USL on ESPN continues on Monday. On ESPN2, San Diego against Colorado Springs at 6 p.m. Pacific. 2 of the top teams in the Western Conference And that's where New Mexico feels like they should be down the line. Don't forget they have all those games in hand right now. 1 minute of time tacked on at the end of the first half here. Coming into the night in the standings, New Mexico was above that playoff line through just 14 matches played. They had 25 points. You look at the teams ahead of them, they've got 4 games in hand on LA, 1 in hand on SAC, 5 in hand on El Paso. They could do a lot of climbing in the summer months here in New Mexico with all those games in hand. Zira brings it down for Brett. Finds a way to get it wide for Suggs. This will be the last charge up the field of the first half here. Suggs cross blocked, and that might be it. Kalen Ryden, advantage played. Brett, it deflects wide for Bruce. Daniel Bruce curls it in. Still alive, parried away by Herrera. Last dying moments here of half number 1, and it's New Mexico still looking for an equalizer. We're beyond the 1 minute minimum.
Ball's out extremely nice for Justin Portillo. Sound like a broken record. Just flirts right on top of that 18-yard box, puts his laces through, but give credit to Herrera. He's the whole way, really acrobatic save. You're Frankie Allop, you're looking at Murphy, you're looking at Posilovic to do their defensive duties. Reblar needs to drop back as well. You can't have Portillo have that time and space, especially 20 yards out. He will make you pay. A lot to change for Monterey Bay. Started off extremely well. First 5-10 minutes asking questions of New Mexico. Once New Mexico got comfortable and started to dictate tempo of this game, move the ball from left to right, trying to figure out ways to break down this low block of Monterey Bay. If you're Frank Allop, and you get Valesky, Boone, Reblar, Martinez on the same page. A lot going forward, a lot to pay for in this next 45 minutes. Going to be really interesting to see the tactical changes both of these coaches do.
Monterey Bay, the hot start, a goal 2 minutes in, courtesy of Chase Boone. New Mexico responded later in the half. Sergio Rivas made it 1-1. Let's see what half number 2 has in store. First ever meeting between New Mexico and Monterey Bay here on ESPN+. Welcome into the Integris Wealth Management halftime show. 1-1 between Monterey Bay and New Mexico in the first ever meeting between these two clubs. A big one in the Western Conference standings, as New Mexico is sort of the wild card right now, given all the games they have in hand already above that playoff line. They went down early, they came back and tied it. But before we go any further in this one,
Westfield Bank, bank your way. Here's Dolly.
It's a good goal here from Martinez as he just comes in late to the 18-yard box. Is really classy the way that he just pulls it across his body to find that back of the net. And then it's an unbelievable goal there from Andrew Lewis, getting there before the goalkeeper to head it down. Really good showing from Hartford Athletic.
And then on ESPN2, you had San Antonio and Tulsa. J.J. Williams put Tulsa up in front on the road. San Antonio took care of business, though, after that.
Yeah, two great headers, to be fair. In that first half, San Antonio just so high power in their attacking units, getting in, running, playing for each other. Sam Dinnerin, extremely good goal, powerful player on loan from Seattle Sounders, making his impact felt immensely for San Antonio at the moment.
He's a player that a lot of teams in the league were happy to no longer see around the league, but now he's back and he's with probably the best team in the league, so watch out. And then we had a Copa Tejas match between RGV and El Paso. It finished 0-0. These games are always odd. It was 0-0, but a lot happened. It's not often that we can show you a highlight of a 0-0 game where you're looking at this many golden opportunities.
And what's really interesting is the talent that was on display, that no one finds it back in the net. Really good opportunities there, like you said, Joe. And then San Diego against Orange County. San Diego team, much like San Antonio, high power offense. Alejandro Guido coming into his own, making USL Championship, put notice on the number 10, wearing the loyal jersey. It's a great goal there. Really cheeky header from Milowski, and then it is a PK. The man I just mentioned, Guido steps up, cool, calm, collected, picks a spot, side netting. San Diego Loyal take the points.
A soccer game happened to break out at Fight Night there as well between Orange County and San Diego. Vassell and Longmire going after it. Both red carded in that all-out brawl between those two rivals. Now, these two teams have played a very physical first half. No history between them. They're very quickly creating some. We'll see what half number 2 has in store on the other side of this break.
Goes topic speaking. I mean, yeah, let's talk about today we're gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
It's all Colorado Springs tonight.
Already a goal in this one. Cross it. Oh!
Floated back the other way. And what a save! San Diego!
Drew the penalty from long range. Guido fires away! What a shot!
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean-fresh, sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Well, chilly or not, it's a fun night at the park for all families, getting the air guitars out, hoping that Monterey Bay can fly through the air again for a second goal, as Chase Boone did on the first one. Welcome in once again to the Integris Wealth Management halftime show. A look around the league. Matt Cardone departs. He is going to law school, of all places, from between the sticks to burying his nose in the books. The Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup continues later this month when Sacramento Republic makes it through to the semifinal against Sporting Kansas City, first USL team since 2017 to reach a semifinal. And as mentioned earlier, USL Championship on ESPN schedule continues on Monday. It is Colorado Springs against San Diego. Let's try to parse through the Western Conference, shall we? It's loaded. We can agree upon that. It is loaded. From top to maybe, not bottom, but top to like 10th. It's loaded. And New Mexico lurking. Look at all the games in hand they have on the teams above them. And look how talented they are. You see it in the first half, how deep they are. They're a team to watch as they close the gap up at the top. The bottom, look at all these teams trying to get to the playoff line. It's loaded.
And you look at the bottom, like you said, it is loaded, and just so much talent. And look at Monterey Bay, obviously 13th, not an ideal spot, but they've been in every single game. It's just a matter of individual lapses, focus lapses, that is really hurting this team as we take a look at the Eastern Conference. Maybe not the same story.
Not at all.
But there is, again, Lou City, as we've seen to come. Memphis has been really surprising. Tampa Bay Rowdies getting their form. But again, there's a lot of talent as well on this Eastern Conference.
There is a line drawn between third and then the next group in the East. You cannot draw that same line in the Western Conference. And bottom left, how about that? Phoenix at home, historically been a fortress. Phoenix, historically been a powerhouse. They're down 1-0 at home against Orange County. It's last year's best team in the Western Conference in Phoenix against last year's champion in Orange County. Both of those teams are in the bottom 3 of the Western Conference, and Phoenix is on the losing end of that one right now.
It's a really interesting matchup. Phoenix Rising struggling at the moment. You take a look at the top right, Tampa Bay Rowdies taking care of Memphis 901. And then on the bottom, really interesting match. Las Vegas Lights playing host to Detroit City. That's one to keep an eye out on.
A lot of the local firefighters taking this game in from Cardinale Stadium, and they're trying to see if Monterey Bay could put out the fire of this New Mexico hot streak in the second half. It's 1-1 through 45. More after this.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean-fresh, sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
sun setting over the bay here in Seaside, California. Take a look at the highlights from half number 1. A quick start it was for Monterey Bay, scoring just 2 minutes in.
Monterey Bay has had the most success around the edges, moving the ball from left to right. Second balls have been extremely important for Frankie Alves' boys. Good understanding between Martinez and Donor as Martinez pinches in. Donor pushes it up. Good first touch to create separation. Better second ball. And then it's an excellent header from Chase Boone. Rises up over Tete. There's nothing that Tembakis can do. Heads it back to where it came from. Brilliant start for Monterey Bay.
Doesn't get much better than that, but New Mexico would slowly find their way into this game. It took until maybe the 25-minute mark, but from that point on, New Mexico dominated the half.
And just so much talent for this New Mexico side. As they get their footing, as they get the confidence within the team, things started to change. This was an interesting coming together in the attacking third for Monterey Bay. Good understanding as well, and Martinez runs in behind. Valesky tries to be a bit cheeky, a bit creative. Tembakis does have an argument as he has his hand on the ball. We'll take a look at it here. So that coming together, the swiping of that leg, catches the goalkeeper, and then Vasiljevic a bit too eager, trying to put his laces through it, send it over the bar.
The build-up play from New Mexico has just been terrific when they've been at their best this season. Look at all the passes, count them up. You already saw 1. There's 2. Laid off 3. Just 3 quick passes, and it lays up for a perfect ball into the feet of Rivas.
And you take a look at that run from Preston, that pulls apart Arun Vasiljevic, that elects Bruce to pick up his head, put this ball, death touch from Nico Brett, and then class finish from Rivas, and that's how we end the first half.
Upcoming games around the league. Loudoun and Tulsa have the Sunday match tomorrow, then that one on ESPN2 on Monday between 2 of the Western Conference's best teams. Wednesday, an interesting slate. You've got Pittsburgh and Indy trying to find their way above the playoff line in the East. Birmingham lost tonight against Louisville. Detroit and Hartford, 2 teams right now kind of going in opposite directions. Hartford kind of riding the high of a coaching change that led to a win. Detroit coming down a bit after the initial high they had this season in their inaugural season, still well above that playoff line, but not quite in the form they were early on. And then, of course, you have New Mexico and RGV playing twice in 3 days on the 6th of July and the 9th of July, RGV at the Lab in Albuquerque. That's got to be a weird quirk to prep for as a coach of both teams, to see a team twice in a couple of days.
That is.
You can't worry yet about RGV. Have to worry about the next 45 against Monterey Bay. And if you're Monterey Bay, you have to worry about finding a way to snap this 4-game losing skid. Not enough PSI in the select ball that is ready to begin the half. The referee thinks it's fine, and he puts it right back where it is.
You're a referee. What's the PSI for USL Championship?
I'm sorry, I don't have it memorized.
Oh, come on, man.
Nico Brett wasn't too happy with it. Hey, it is cold here. 60 degrees. We know from the very famous Deflategate scandal that the cold weather can impact the PSI of the ball, so maybe Nico Brett a little less than happy with it, but we're underway in the second half nonetheless. All that matters is Dejan Susak said that ball's fine, just play the game. Sent forward toward Brett, but the offside flag is up. You see, if it were a properly inflated ball, is what Nico Brett is saying, he would have been onside, and it would have been perfectly timed.
Might be a bit of an eye-opener for Monterey Bay. Nico Brett not a bit too eager to make his run. He is in on goal. Kai Green, Hugh Roberts need to have a good relationship as one steps, one covers. As they're playing against 2 strikers, Preston and Nico Brett.
That's not great company to be in for Monterey Bay in terms of those first half goals conceded. Corey Donor. Donor pushes it past Portillo and earns a corner.
And it's just this relationship between Martinez and Donor on the right-hand side. Frank Yallop needs to be extremely happy with this right back. Somebody highlighted in our conversation earlier this week, but once he gets in that final third, a bit too slow to make his decision. Gives time to Portillo to come across and put it out for a corner kick, but good effort from Donor, who's been a bright spot for that man right here.
James Murphy from the corner. Driven near post, punched away by Tambakis. Still loose, punched away again into the side netting.
And when you have a lot of players in front of a goalkeeper, it causes a lot of chaos. You can just see this ball pinballing around. Falls nicely. Saboon just pulls it far too wide. To be fair, it is really good goalkeeping from Tambakis. There's a lot of traffic in front of him. Just punches it out. If you're Boone, you're going to want this one back.
Boone tried to play it off by immediately pointing to the corner flag. That was about 1.5 yards away from any sort of deflection. Alex Tambakis has been pretty quiet tonight outside of the opening chance in the 2nd minute that turned into the goal. He hasn't had to do much between the sticks for New Mexico. Now, when he is called upon, he's one of the best goalkeepers this league has seen historically. 2nd all-time in saves, with 431 coming into the night. Tied for 6th all-time in clean sheets in USL Championship. Azira for Preston. Back through for Suggs. Didn't hit it cleanly, but it hung up in a dangerous area and still forced Herrera to make a play. Roberts off the side of his foot. Fortunate Walmer Martinez was the one lurking. It was the 2nd half, right around this mark, where Christian Nava subbed in for New Mexico against Oakland when they were down 1-0. They came from behind and won that game 2-1. Obviously not down a goal here, but still in that same area of the game where Zach Prince felt it necessary to bring on the spark of Christian Nava. And it turned out to be very, very fruitful. He had 1 assist, and on the other goal he had the hockey assist of sorts. The pass that led to the pass that led to the goal. So you wonder at what point that sub might be triggered here as well.
Come on, Mikey, show.
Kai Green goes all the way back for Herrera. And through 50 minutes, you can already see it, the parity that you have in the Western Conference. Monterey Bay is in last place, but they have wins over Louisville and Colorado Springs. They've been in it against every team they've played. They're right in the thick of this one. There is not a single easy out in the Western Conference this year. Played in, Rebelar brings it down, still loose. Molesky stumbles. He'll take anything to get one through.
And just the impact is being felt from Arun Basulovic already. Stepping up in a higher line. Springballing this ball out wide. Good ball in from Crawford. Valesky, just been that kind of season for him so far. Good opportunity, just loses his footing. So unlucky for the striker from Monterey Bay. Again, you can just see the impact from Basulovic. Something that was lacking in that first half. Not really getting on the ball. Special player for Frank Yallop. So much of what they do goes through him. And that man right there, Rebelar. I think extremely quiet first half. what he brings is just a different. It's just a different type of skill set that Vasiljevic and Revelar bring. Players that are able to break lines through their passing, through their dribbling, so direct in the way that they think. So it has to be good signs for Frank Yaup as those guys are on the ball a bit more in the second half.
Along for Suggs. Robbie Crawford pivots back for Hugh Roberts. Vasiljevic. Murphy along for Donor. A lengthy spell of possession at the back here for Monterey Bay that we didn't necessarily see in half number one. Elsewhere, it's still scoreless between Vegas and Detroit. And Orange County is still up 1-0 on Phoenix approaching halftime. Two changes being prepared now for New Mexico as the sun streams in onto the field here at Cardinale Stadium. Revelar for Boone. Vasiljevic recycles. Robbie Crawford. Good ball in for Boone. Cuts it back. And Vasiljevic unable to pull the trigger before it's knocked away. Monterey Bay was in control of that ball for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it turned into nearly a couple of opportunities. That's what they would like to see more of in the second half of the season. 16 weeks down, 16 weeks to go here in USL Championship. Donor just carries it through the heart of the field. Martinez. This is outstanding control of the ball from Monterey Bay. Swinging it left and right. Crawford on the ground. They're getting to every loose ball just about, keeping it alive here. Boone swipes at it. Murphy. They go again. Donor. That ball was just out of play, and now a couple of changes here 10 minutes into the half for New Mexico.
Exiting the game for New Mexico, number 5, entering number 3.
Josh Suggs out for Austin Yearwood.
Also entering the game, number 45, exiting the game, number 23.
Michael Azira will leave for Christian Nava. So we do see Nava early in this second half. All subs tonight brought to you by Prep Club Society.
It is a tactical change for Zach Prince. And Suggs was having a hard time dealing with the overlapping run of Donor. Brings in Yearwood, lock down this left-hand side. Give credit to Monterey Bay to really coming out of that second half on the front foot. Really impressive, patient build-up. Ball circulation, recycling the ball, trying to find gaps to hurt this New Mexico United defensive unit. One of the best passage of play, if you ask Frank Yaup, that he's probably seen all season from his boys. So the way that they were able to be patient, the passes that they picked up, just lacking that finishing product.
And Zach Prince got sick of watching it, so he makes two changes, hoping to try and put a stop to that. Where does Nava come into the fold here? Is it a like for like as he comes into the match for Azira, or does he get moving around the field a little bit more.
I think you're going to see the same between Bruce, Rivas, Navas, players that play ahead of Justin Portillo, giving that creativity spark underneath Preston and Nico Brett Navas. Just so quick, so crafty, so slippery, in and around the edges. Like you said, Joe, against that game against Oakland, he was a game changer. So look for him to have the same impact. I'm telling you, if you're Monterey Bay in that back line, Hugh Roberts, Kai Green, you have to keep an eye on him in the space that he picks up. You do not want him to get going in those soft spot pockets. He's a very dangerous man when he's full of confidence, Nava.
Nice move by Boone into space. Gets beyond Tete. And it's last off of Tete for a corner. Or we'll pull it back, actually. A foul called before then.
Showing off a bit now, Chase Boone. So smooth in the way that he turns and gets that second touch. I thought that fake of a cross throws off Tete, but give credit to the right back from New Mexico. Recovers extremely well. Feels any contact, goes down and draws a foul. Monterey Bay is having a lot of success around the edges that we've seen. This time it's Chase Boone on the left-hand side. Donor on the right-hand side. As Crawford is trait by trait center mid, shifts back to this left back position that elects Boone to stay out wide and provide the width for Frank Gallup.
Phoenix Rising did just tie things up before halftime against Orange County. So both of your all West Coast games are tied at 1 for the moment. Your East versus West matchup, Vegas, Detroit, still scoreless. At this point, the way things are in the Western Conference, how tight everything is, whenever you have an East versus West matchup, every Western Conference team has to be rooting with every fiber of their being for the team in the East to come away with all 3 points. At least a tie, at least a tie. There have been far too many wins of Western Conference teams over Eastern Conference teams this season in the interconference play, and that's why the point totals in the West are just so much higher than that of the East. It looks like New Mexico is preparing 2 more subs. So as we approach the hour mark, Zach Prince not shying away from those substitutions. We'll have about a half an hour left and only 1 more to make. But he sees something right now in this game that begs for a change. It'll be Weehan and Kiesewetter. The next chance they get to sub in. And this again is where Monterey Bay, they're not quite there yet, and Frank Gallup acknowledges that as part of the reason they've struggled at times. Can they find another goal, though, here? No. It sails over Boone. Last game against Sacramento, they're cruising. They're up 1-0. Sacramento makes all these changes. They can't counter it. Sacramento wins it 2-1. It's 1-1 here. You just brought in Nava. You just brought in Yearwood. You're about to bring in Weehan, the club's all-time leading scorer, and Kiesewetter, who's a very strong number 9 to put atop the lines. They don't have anything to counter that right now, Monterey Bay.
Brings a question in. Chris Cortez Johnson, player that Frank Gallup is extremely happy, excited to talk about as we had our conversation with him. What does he play as this game goes on, giving that extra spark as well. That's the season.
Over the top for Preston. Not a bad effort. Drifted wide.
And he's a player that loves to run in behind. Good first touch with his head to set it up. Gets a lot of contact on this. I'll tell you what, if it is on target, he's asking a lot of questions of Herrera. He's been extremely active. Preston stretching back the back line, giving up space for Nico Brett to come in underneath. It's a good relationship. Good give and go. And then turns on movement for Zach Prince.
Jerome Kiesewetter into the match for Taka Preston. All subs brought to you by Prep Club Society, and the other one will see Chris Weehan into the match and also Daniel Bruce out of the match.
Entering number 41.
Four goals on the season for Weehan coming in off the bench. Club's all-time leading scorer. Joined New Mexico from Orange County last year, right around the midway point. Scored 10 goals in 15 games played. It was Weehan who scored the winner in the 2-1 victory for New Mexico over Oakland Roots a couple of weeks back. The last time they won a game. Last time out, they lost to Birmingham, snapping a 5-game winning streak. Monterey Bay hoping tonight to snap a 4-game losing streak. They'd prefer to do it with a win, but even a draw would at least put things back on the right track. Hour gone, half hour to go from Cardinale Stadium. With Ricky Lopez-Espin, I'm Joe Malva. Happy to have you with us tonight on ESPN+. There's still more action to come this weekend in USL Championship. Tulsa and Loudoun tomorrow. Action on ESPN2 on Monday. A little 4th of July special between Colorado Springs and San Diego. And you can catch all of the action all season long on ESPN+. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL Championship action on ESPN+, home of the USL, MLS, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Martinez lays it back. So we've seen 4 subs already from New Mexico. And when we say that Monterey Bay doesn't necessarily have the same punch that can be packed on the bench, that's part of the reason why nearly 65 minutes in, they haven't made a sub yet. They stick with the 11 that they started with. Hugh Roberts picks up a yellow.
A yellow card caution has been issued to Robbie Crawford.
Extremely interesting to see the impact that Jerome Kiesewetter brings into this game. Very physical player, very soft feet for his size. Nice little bit of skill there. Just put this ball through the wickets of Hugh Roberts. Not too much contact, but really clever. Feels anything is going to go down. Now Roberts has a yellow card. Needs to be extremely careful. The defensive efforts that he goes in, the challenges that he goes in, and his positioning needs to be spot on.
Brought all the way back for a foul against Monterey Bay.
These are dangerous moments for New Mexico, as you have players like Justin Portillo, Chris Weehan have the ability to put this ball into their desired target right between that penalty area, 6-yard box, trying to catch Herrera in no man's land.
He goes short. Now over to Weehan, something off the training ground. Needs some more work. Back into the middle. Nava chasing down Boone. Rivas, the goal scorer for New Mexico. All the way back in the 41st minute. And now we're going to see a change from Monterey Bay. A couple of them, actually.
As legs start to get heavy as you're approaching the 70-minute mark. You're going to start to see lack of focus, lack of concentration, wayward passes. So you want the confidence to get back if you're Monterey Bay. Vasilovic, Murphy are really dictating tempo earlier in this second half. Has gone away from them the last couple minutes as New Mexico start to get both hands on this game as well, asking questions of Monterey Bay and their defensive unit, starting to draw fouls in dangerous positions as we see here.
Arun Vasilovic exits for Grant Robinson.
Number 12, Grant Robinson.
Christian Molesky exits for Sekou Kone. All subs brought to you by Prep Club Society.
Also entering the game.
What's this going to do for Monterey Bay? It's going to push Crawford into the middle of the field next to Murphy. See, Kone is a like for like for Valesky, going to be a target forward. And Robinson's going to push back to this left back position.
Portillo, far post, punched away by Herrera. He read that the whole way. He was cheating a bit, actually, toward his back post. If Portillo would have realized that, he might have thought twice and tried to catch the keeper off guard with a shot to the near post. As soon as he was approaching that ball, Portillo, Herrera had already taken like 2 or 3 steps to the back post. That's one where if you would have gotten caught with a shot at your near post, you bury your face and your hands and keep it there for about a minute.
This is going to change the way that Monterey Bay plays now. As Kone is a target man, you have a lot of movement underneath him, behind him. He's going to occupy Ryden and Seymour of New Mexico United in that back line pairing for Zach Prince. So it's going to really open up space for Regular. Very flourished player that loves to play and break lines with his dribbling so quick in the space that he picks up as well. Boone's going to stay out wide. Martinez is going to pinch in. It's going to give a lot of real estate for Donor as well. Just the ability to adapt offensively for Monterey Bay, defensively for New Mexico. It's going to be a difference in this game as there's 22+ minutes left.
Kone leaves it. He would have been offside. Wehan. Turn from Donor. Streaking through the middle. He had Revelar. Goes back for Martinez. Donor again. He knew what he wanted to do. Didn't quite execute it on the move.
When I was playing, we called it the turf monster that catches you. It's a good idea. Talk about a minute before that. Martinez pulls in to the center of the field. It's a good run from Kone. The reverse run the other way. When a striker makes that darting run across the back line, so you have to feed it to him. Catch that back line flat-footed. Elects not to do it. It results in a turnover for Monterey Bay. Opportunity missed for Martinez.
This has been the most polite physical game that I've watched in a while. Both teams have gone really hard after every challenge. Every single one has been met with a pat on the back and a walk by. There's no bad blood. It's just good physical hard play.
And to be fair, it's been a lot of good football as well. Really high level.
Kiesewetter muscling players off. Kiesewetter stumbles at the end. And I believe he was called for the foul.
It's a good secondary run from Jerome Kiesewetter. Gets a better positioning of Hugh Roberts. And I think if he goes with his left foot, has a better angle, tries to be cheeky, cut it back to his right, but give credit to Herrera. Comes out big, comes out fast, and closes down the angle for the substitute for New Mexico United.
Player down at the moment for Monterey Bay. Through all the bodies, I believe it's Boone. Heard some shouts from the fans to bring in the new guy. And who might that be, Ricky?
He has a name, you know.
Frank Yallop was very excited to have brought in Johnson this week. Available on the bench. And the fans want to see him out there on the field.
Not something you want to see as Chase Boone comes off 72 minutes into this game. The difference maker for Frank Yallop. He struggled with injuries throughout this 2022 season.
Entering the game for Monterey Bay FC, number 8, Simon Dawkins. Exiting the game,
Simon Dawkins in for Chase Boone.
Hopefully it's nothing serious for Boone. You see how special he is going forward for Monterey Bay. Just gives him a different look, different skill set than anyone on Frank Yalp's roster. Direct, but can also beat you on the dribble. You see the type of goals that he's scored, whether it's with his head, right foot, left foot. Really special player for Monterey Bay.
Misplay by Roberts. Kiesewetter looking to capitalize. Kiesewetter put it in the middle. Had two open players, split the difference between them. It's Nava.
As it's coming on, he's gotten into really good opportunities. Kiesewetter just unable to make it count. There's a spatial whereabouts to pick up his head. Just lacking that execution. Puts it in the only spot. The center back for Monterey Bay can put the danger out. He's been a handful since coming on the bench.
Yearwood. Good first touch on the left side. Portillo's cross deflected. Yellow card, I believe, coming out of the pocket now for Kalen Ryden.
And if I'm a New Mexico supporter, I'm okay with that. As Crawford skips through a couple players in the middle of the field, called back for a foul. You can see Crawford gets up extremely quick. Murphy as well flirting to put the ball down. You have Cone who just spins out to its right-hand side, and they elect to go quick. New Mexico is in a lot of trouble. Good heads-up play there from New Mexico and their defensive center backs.
Out for a corner. That was actually Seymour who picked up the yellow, not Ryden. Grant Robinson had some space there on the left side. Crowd getting a bit more into it now. Quarter of an hour remains at Cardinale. They scored all the way back in the second minute, Monterey Bay. Gave up that lead in the 41st. And now a set piece as the fans hope for a go-ahead goal on a chilly evening in the 50s here in Seaside, California.
I'll tell you what, if I was on the field, I'm wearing gloves. 50 degrees for a Florida boy.
Yeah, but you played in Salt Lake. It was cold up there. You went to high school in Minnesota. It's cold up there. You mean to tell me that somewhere along the way you didn't get used to it at all?
Never.
Never. Our producer gets it on the fun in our ears here. Pile on Ricky at this moment. Nice move down the left wing by Dawkins. Tell you what, whatever you'd be wearing here in the cold, I'm sure it would find its way to Instagram within an hour.
Talking about the fashionista you are, Joe.
Rivas, perfectly timed challenge, got on the ground early, made no body contact, all ball, and springs the attack the other way. Streaking through the middle, Nico Brett. Once again, it's a difference splitting pass by Kiesewetter. Had two guys, put it between them. This one played into the feet of Portillo. Nava on the turn. Nava off of the shin of Hugh Roberts. And now Roberts heads it away.
And like you just touched on, the second opportunity missed. The same action, the same play, the same outcome from Jerome Kiesewetter. He has the composure, the quality just to pick out a yellow shirt. Able to find that second go-ahead goal for New Mexico. We give credit.
Nava, Rivas, it's deflected. Where would that have ended up? Same goes for that one. Monterey Bay putting everything on the line here, blocking everything that comes through the middle. Before it was Roberts, now two more here. Donor getting in on the fun. Kai Green getting in on the fun. It's a block party right now in Seaside.
And it's that first touch that lets Rivas down. Tries to roll it out in front of him, but puts it a bit too close, giving Green the opportunity to close down the...
Take it quickly, Nava just wide.
As I'm talking about Rivas' first touch, this is a masterclass of a first touch from Navas. The body feint that sends Robbie Crawford away. Just lacking the final touch, trying to squeak that into that near post of Herrera. Just pulls it a bit too wide. You can see why they're so high on him. Nava, it's a special player, able to create something out of nothing, especially in a tight situation. Good effort from the substitute. If you're Monterey Bay, you need to tighten things up, especially in defensive half. There's too many gaps opening up, and New Mexico United is too good, too much talent to give them that time and space, especially on top of your 18-yard box.
Only Portillo is a one-man wall. Played over the penalty mark and guided away. Rebellar pinballing around and finally cleared. Black stays down, ball in space for Robinson. Kone in the middle. We've seen it now at both ends, and you can see the frustration there from Robinson as he kicks the advertising boards and almost pays for it, tripped at the end of it. We've seen it at both ends. They get into the good area going down the wing. They have options in front. A defender in between those two options, and the pass goes to the defender.
And it's so interesting if you look at these both of these teams around the league, teams around the world.
Corner curled in and headed away.
Most of the tactical changes that they do, the training that they do is in that final third. Getting around the edges, whether it's to the center backs, the wingers, to have the whereabouts, the composure, the quality, the runs as well, to be on the same page, near post, far post, top of the 18-yard box, 6-yard box. To pick up your head and just roll this ball into your teammates to give them a chance. Something that's been lacking for both of these teams, like you said, Joe, in the final third. If you get those things right, this game can easily be 3 goals apiece. They're getting in the right situations, the right positions, just lacking that bit of quality.
This is one that New Mexico would like to turn into 3 points if they can in the last 10 minutes here. Now, the good part about where they are in the standings relative to the games at hand is that hey, you've already pocketed all the points you have in just 14 games. The bad side of that is you're going to make it up at some point, and that point is now. Today is the first of 5 games in a 14-day period for New Mexico. They go Wednesday, Saturday from now through the 16th of July. 2 at home against RGV, 1 on the road against Tulsa, and then 1 at home against Pittsburgh. So it's going to get very difficult here in a condensed schedule. In a game where they've been the better of the two sides, they may be kicking themselves if they don't turn this into 3, and it might not even be 1. Donor at the end line, flares it to the back post. Not a blue jersey in sight. 2 runners, both of the near post.
Again, just not on the same page as Donor gets in a good opportunity. Dawkins, Coney making that same near post run. You always want your striker making that near post run to draw in a center back to create space for that secondary runner. So if you're Dawkins, you have to realize as Conor makes his first move, you have to counteract it. So if he goes far post, you go near post, and vice versa.
On the flip side, Monterey Bay hoping this at least stays 1-1 to put an end to their 4-game losing skid. They'd hope to do it with a victory, but a tie would do and still stop the streak. It's an interesting schedule ahead for them. They are on the road against Orange County a week from tonight, and then 3 straight Eastern Conference opponents for Monterey Bay. Home against Detroit City and New York Red Bulls 2, then at Loudoun United to finish out the month of July. It's been a very hot and cold nature for Monterey Bay. It was very cold early on with that lengthy road trip, of course, to start the season while Cardinale was finished. But then in May, 3 wins and a loss. June, 4 matches, all 4 losses. The peaks and valleys of this team. But they've been right there every step of the way in most of the games. Same goes tonight against a talented New Mexico team. They have enough, though, to find a way to turn this into 3 points in the way that they've given up some points late in games this season. Recently, in the closing 20 minutes, they gave up the 3 points against Sacramento. Prior to that, against San Antonio, late scored. And they turn the tide tonight and steal 3 points late at home. Nava taken down, and the free kick was given.
Substitution, Monterey Bay entering the game for the very first time, Jason Johnson.
All the fans who were calling for Jason Johnson's debut get their wish. Revelar out and Jason Johnson in.
And he came alive in the second half. Revelar finding the spots, getting on the ball a bit more. Play that Frank Alp thinks extremely high of. You see what Jason Johnson has in store, make his impact felt. 7+ left minutes here.
Free kick doesn't amount to anything for New Mexico. Jason Johnson, time spent last year with Tulsa. Previously, some runs with Louisville City, Austin Bold. Long stretch with Phoenix Rising from 2017 to 2019. 23 goals in 71 games. Also spent time with the Chicago Fire and Houston Dynamo in MLS. And along the way, a couple of different times that he has crossed paths now with Frank Yallop. Did it in Chicago, did it with Phoenix Rising, and now crossing paths again here in Monterey Bay. They've struggled to score goals this year. Jason Johnson is a man who could come in and change that in a hurry if he's able to find a rhythm with this team and his new teammates and recapture some of that form we've seen him have in this league. Nava somehow wins it. Nava to Rivas, just behind him. Every time Nava subs into a match, it feels like you get a few of those plays, and it's why they're so high on the 18-year-old. Just very special traits. Turns the hard work defensively into a chance offensively.
The player that just recently made the jump to MLS, that Nava kind of has the same style of play. Diego Luna, just so clever, slippery, 1v1, tight spaces, very clinical in the decisions that they make as well. Always find themselves in the right situations. It's a bright future for the youngster.
Diego Luna is good company to be in if you're Christian Nava. As he commits to foul and picks up a yellow here, Nava, right on cue. But Diego Luna right now with a U20 United States team that has qualified for the World Cup and the Olympics. And that team, when the roster first came out, all but 3 players on the team had played at least 1 game in USL Championship. So the fingerprints of this league all over that team.
As he loses possession in the middle of the field, just a little clip saying, welcome to the league, welcome to the game, Johnson.
Wehan puts it behind Kiesewetter. Here's Martinez, occupying the same space as Kone. Well, in the second half, Turf Monster 2, Monterey Bay nothing. Offside flag was up anyway.
It's been interesting. Asconius really came out to this right-hand side. I don't know if that's by design to create space for Johnson to go centrally, or it's just something that he feels very comfortable doing. But as a target man, you want to stay central, really occupy the center backs of New Mexico. Create space for players underneath you, players from around you to run into spaces.
All the way back for Carlos Herrera. Still scoreless between Vegas and Detroit, approaching the hour mark. And Orange County just went up 2-1, 8 minutes into the second half on the road against Phoenix. Dangerous ball through, save made by Tambakis. He hasn't been called into question in about 30 minutes. Wakes up at the right moment to stick out the right foot and keep it 1-1.
It's disbelief from Robbie Crawford. Weehan unable to clear it successfully. Puts his laces through it, hits it right, hits it low, hits it hard, does everything right, Crawford. We're talking about a big-time save, a timely save. When you want your goalkeeper to step up, Tambakis does just that to keep this game 1-1 in the 89th minute. It's a bad turnover there.
Can they turn terrific action at one end into a goal at the other? Tambakis to stop. Rivas trying to make it count now the other way. Nava. Poor touch from Nava. And it seems like he's limping a little bit now, favoring that right leg. He thought about a tactical foul to stop the attack because he's hurt, but it seemed like he thought better of it because he's on that yellow card.
I think it was just caught between two minds. As they cut back to play it in, trying to be a bit cheeky and show a bit of skill. Does neither. An opportunity that goes to waste for New Mexico as they catch this Monterey Bay side out in transition.
It was Milan Alaski, by the way, again. 2 goals tonight for Orange County. That is a dangerous man right now in the Western Conference. Orange County hasn't quite mimicked the same form as Alaski. Well, that game went from 1-1 to 2-1. We're in the 90th minute now. I'm told there will be 4 minutes of added time. Will this one also find either of these teams go to 2-1? Turf Monster 3, Monterey Bay nothing now in the second half, but Robinson recovers. Nava into space. Nava shot blocked. Rebound from Portillo, a heat-seeking missile over the bar. You think these Monterey Bay players are familiar with this field? It is their home field, but they are having some trouble finding the footing.
You probably think it's a bit wet with the weather conditions as well, but give credit to Crawford. He gets beaten by that first touch earlier in the second half by Navas. Sees it coming the second half. Good challenge, doesn't let that ball go through. Pops out nicely to Portillo and just rises over the bar. I'll tell you what, I think is Monterey Bay back defensive unit. The likes of Roberts, Green, Crawford, since coming into the middle, have been extremely good. Really putting their bodies on the line, making life extremely hard for New Mexico, especially in the final third, right until the 18-yard box.
There's your confirmation on the 4 minutes of added time. Weehan into the referee. It'll be a drop ball and possession back to New Mexico. Roberts almost cleared it right into Kiesewetter. Kone gets the favorable bounce, but the flag is up. He has been offside now 3 times since he has come in as a sub. Struggling to find the timing up against that New Mexico back line. Ball played to nobody in particular from New Mexico. If this result holds, we know the way Zach Prince is and the mentality he has. Yes, it'll be a point. I think he's going to be disappointed with the performance overall tonight from New Mexico. They've had their positive spells, but just not really crisp, lacking in some areas. Some of the issues that plagued them against Birmingham, some of the issues that plagued them for much of the game against Oakland that they were still fortunate to win 2-1, have shown up again here. You can't complain too much. They were just coming off a 7-match unbeaten run before that loss to Birmingham. But for a team with championship aspirations that believes they can be near the top of this Western Conference, these are the nights where you might kick yourself thinking you should have had 3 points instead of 1, if it still turns out to be 1. And it may yet not turn out to be 1. Martinez has Donor. Goes the other way instead. Out to Robinson. Brett picks up his head. Sees his options. Kiesewetter. Kiesewetter still with it. It falls for Nico. Brett pulls it wide. That is the 6th all-time leading scorer in USL Championship history. You cannot let him set up free like that in the box. Fortunate Monterey Bay to still be 1-1.
And at first, I think Kiesewetter makes the wrong decision not to put this ball out to the right-hand side, but lets it go by himself. And like you said, Joe, if you're New Mexico United, that's the player you want on that rebound, especially in that 18-yard box. If you're Monterey Bay, that's the last player you want having a shot on your goal, 10 yards out. Lucky enough, pulls it a bit too wide. Been extremely quiet, Nico Brett.
Nava, it's deflected right into the gut of Herrera. Closing seconds of this match now. Is there one final attack for Monterey Bay? Doubt there'd be enough time for New Mexico to go the other way with one of their own. This seems like it's either a Monterey Bay win or a tie. Martinez. Crawford. Will they be allowed to take the corner? It seems like they will. Crowd behind the goal rising to its feet, sensing this is it right here. First ever meeting between these clubs. Is there drama at the end for Monterey Bay? They've been so close in so many games this year. Is this finally the night? They poke their noses out in front in the dying moments. A nervous Zach Prince pacing his tactical area. Murphy, strong service, loose in the middle for a moment. Johnson on it. Hugh Roberts heads it goalward, and it's cleared. Donor can't keep it alive. Glance at the watch from the official. And there's your final whistle. It was nervy in the end, but in the first ever meeting between Monterey Bay and New Mexico, they score a goal each and take a point each, tying tonight at Cardinale 1-1.
And I think both coaches need to be extremely pleased in the way that they played. Both teams had really good passage of possession, really disciplined in their build-up. The only thing that was lacking for both teams, whether you're New Mexico United, Monterey Bay, is that clinical touch in that final third. You did extremely well to get in those positions, whether it's a combination play, whether it's a cross picking out a player in the same jersey, something that has been lacking in this 90-plus minutes for both of these teams, Zach Prince and Frank Yallop. Frank Yallop needs to be extremely happy. You're able to fend off very talented New Mexico team, but like you said, Joe, I think Zach Prince is going to feel hard done by getting a good opportunities, but now making it count.
It was a quick start for Monterey Bay. 2 minutes in, they make it 1-0. New Mexico ties it right before the halftime break, and that's how it would stay. A scoreless second half, a 1-1 finish. We come back to wrap it up in just a moment from Seaside. 1 for New Mexico, 1 for Monterey Bay.
Coastal Roots Hospitality is a proud partner of the Monterey Bay Football Club. Coastal Roots Events and Catering, along with its 3 iconic restaurants, Monterey, Tarpey's, and Rio Grill, invite you to pick it up and pay it forward, where 10% of all proceeds from takeout orders are donated to various local charities. Their catering service and restaurants utilize local farms, butcheries, and ocean fresh sustainability-driven seafood to deliver unique and exemplary dining experiences. For more information, visit coastalrootshospitality.com.
Wilmer Martinez greeting some of the fans after the draw tonight between Monterey Bay and New Mexico. It was a hard-fought one from beginning to end. Both teams had their positive spells of play. New Mexico maybe a bit more of the positivity on their side, but neither side able to turn it into more than just the one goal. As we take a look back at tonight's highlights, it started way back at the beginning of the match. 2nd minute, Chase Boone, the fastest goal in Monterey Bay history.
And it's a terrific start for Frank Yellup and the boys in blue. Good interchange on the right-hand side was a theme for this match for Frank Yellup. Just understanding the relationship as the right back, the right winger. The way he rises over Tete, heads it where it came from. There's nothing that Tambakis can do. Terrific start for the difference maker for Monterey Bay to get his 5th goal on the year.
Over the next 20 or so minutes, the game was kind of back and forth, but that's when New Mexico kicked it into a different gear and they got the equalizing goal in the 41st.
And it's just the interchange play between Rivas, Bruce. Great run from Preston. Opens up space for Bruce to pick up his head. Even better setup from Nico Brett. And then just a clinical class. Left-footed strike, low, hard. Nothing that Herrera can do to draw this game 1-1 right before halftime.
And then in the 89th minute, the best chance perhaps for Monterey Bay to have taken the lead and taken the 3 points belongs to Crawford, but Tambakis, the man of the hour.
And it's so hard to see because he does everything right, Robbie Crawford. Body over the ball, trying to find that near post. Really catch Tambakis flat-footed. But talk about a big-time save from the New Mexico goalkeeper. Kick save, the reaction, agility, body control, all of the above. Terrific save for New Mexico goalkeeper.
Well, our game is done, but you can still flip around and catch some more USL Championship action here. About a half an hour to go between Orange County and Phoenix. Same goes for Vegas and Detroit. You get what you want here, Western Conference teams. An Eastern Conference victory, perhaps, as Detroit is up on Las Vegas right now. Any East versus West matchup, the Western Conference teams rooting hard for the East in a very tight West. Upcoming schedule, Ricky, which one catches your eye?
Obviously, it has to be the Monday ESPN2 match. Colorado Springs, Switchback, San Diego Loyal. 2 teams that are extremely motivated, extremely strong in this Western Conference. It's going to be a firework match.
Firework match.
There you go.
4th of July.
4th of July.
Look at you using your head late at night. Well, it was a tough one between Monterey Bay and New Mexico. No history between the teams, but it was a physical, tight affair every step of the way, and it finishes a deserved 1-1 with both teams splitting a point. For my broadcast partner, Ricky Lopez, Espin, and the crew that makes this possible, I'm Joe Malpa saying good night from Cardinale Alley Stadium. 1 for New Mexico, 1 for Monterey Bay, and a tight one here in Seaside.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.